Good morning and welcome to a bright and sunny Talladega Super Speedway. We're getting ready for the Craftsman Truck Series playoffs qualifying. Hope you got your coffee, comfy spot on the couch. We got a fun day ahead. There's one man that slept well last night coming into Talladega, and that's the 11 of Corey Heim. Going back 2 weeks ago at Bristol Motor Speedway, once again, it was Heim time, winning for the third time this season. And I'll tell you what, there's no better place to be than where Corey Heim is right now, coming in to Talladega. And there it is, the playoff leaderboard. Corey Heim on top, and you look at that cutoff line. I know Michael loves that. Zane Smith, 14 points out. Ben Rhodes, Nick Sanchez, Ty Majeski. 2 more chances to make it, to punch their ticket to the championship round in Phoenix. And we welcome you. Good morning. We don't have our coffee, but we've had a little bit. I'm Jamie Little, Michael Waltrip, and Phil Parsons. You guys, there's nothing like just waking up, right? Jumping in your truck, no practice, put down a fast lap here.
Yeah, but last year the pole was about 178 miles an hour, so I look for these drivers to run about the same thing. And then this afternoon they're going to run at least 10 miles an hour faster than that in the draft. But we take a look at that playoff leaderboard. Some of the guys that we probably had in our Final Four right now down below that cutoff line. So a lot on the line here today.
You know, it's interesting, too, here at Talladega, the last 5 races, we talk a lot about the fact that the winners only led the last lap. Well, they've qualified right around 20th as well. So you got a lot of action, a lot of come and goers, but it's very important for these teams to put a truck on the racetrack at Talladega and test its speed. You want to be the fastest truck in town. Brett Moffitt, coming down to run the truck race here at Talladega, is looking to set on the pole with this truck.
Yeah, it's good to see the 2018 champion back in a truck. He's, of course, a teammate for Zane Smith. So, you know, throw out some teammates there. We need a little teammate action for this race coming up later today.
And I think that's important. I think that's why he's here, is to be a teammate to Zane Smith.
I think it's also funny that if you're watching at home, you're like, this truck's a little crooked or something, isn't it? Don't adjust your dial. Everything's fine. They're just trying to get all the aerodynamics out of the truck that they possibly can, and that means the left rear of that truck is over to the left and helps them slip through the air.
Everywhere else we would go, it would be the other way. Looking for some side force, a little more down force.
Isn't that funny what the teams are able to accomplish inside the rule box?
It really is.
That's exactly.
And it's a very small box.
It
and
is
yet
that.
they're able to make that truck look radically different than it would, say, when we go to Homestead in a couple weeks.
And you know, we joke that Corey Heim's the one man that actually slept well last night coming into this race. But what's it like for these playoff drivers who are on the outside looking in, trying to make it, and you come to Talladega, Phil?
You mentioned that Corey Heim slept well last night. Corey Heim slept well for 2 weeks. None of the rest of these drivers, I don't think, are all that comfortable. Even the guys that are with 20-some points above the cut line, I don't think they can be comfortable here. This is such a wild card here at Talladega.
Yeah, and if they look at some of the notes we have, like the fact that no playoff driver has ever won at Talladega, it makes you a little nervous.
And I think we're going to break that here.
Yeah,
I think this week, this race today, I think we're going to have a playoff driver for the first time go to victory lane.
You got an inkling? Anybody in particular, Michael?
You know, I'm just I'm trying to be quiet about the cut line. It really gets on my nerves.
I didn't ask you about the cut line. Who's going to win this bad boy?
So what I'm saying that for, Jamie, is we talked about the unpredictability of Talladega. That cutoff line doesn't mean a thing right now. You're going to go out and try to figure out how to get stage points. I mean, it means a thing or two to Corey Heim. Christian Eckes, he's in a really good spot, but you give away some stage points and things start getting crazy.
Yeah, I talked to some of the drivers and the crew chiefs this morning, and they said, hey, we have to concentrate on stage points. So there's no question about it. Obviously, Corey Heim doesn't have to, but everybody else in the field has to worry about those stage points. So it's not a simple matter of going to the back, riding at the back, trying to stay out of trouble. It's a situation that you're going to have to try to be up front to get those stage points.
Yeah, it's interesting. I just think that's really cool, the dynamic that stage racing has brought to super speedway racing. You know, used to, if your plan was to hang out in the back and then run at the end to go get the win, that was fine. But now there's a penalty for that. And especially if you're trying to race for a championship, you have to be more, you basically, if you're trying to make it and you're not there yet, like Corey Heim, you got to race this like it's 3 races. You go out and you try to win all 3 races here today and get all the points you can.
All right, so Brian Doe's on top of the board right now, a driver we see in the ARCA Menard series from time to time. Told that the 95 Clay Greenfield had an issue, wasn't able to fire, so he didn't take a lap.
Yeah,
Jen
maybe,
Joe Cobb, yeah, out there now.
maybe Clay can get her fired up and make a lap. A little bit of a concern for Moffitt there, Phil. He didn't beat Duzo. So he's...
He has no points to fall back on.
That's the concern, that if he doesn't qualify on time, he's not going to race.
Yeah, and there are 40 trucks here today vying for 36 spots. So to your point, Michael, I mean, 4 drivers must get in on time, and Moffitt on the very bottom, since this is the first start for this truck team this year.
Yeah, that's a concern. So we'll see. We'll follow along and see how this thing plays out. Try to get a little bit more bigger sample size to see what these trucks are going to run. But that's certainly something that Moffitt didn't see coming, I don't think.
And 40 trucks here, the key number is 31. You have to be in the top 31 to be able to race this afternoon, or you could fall back on points, as you guys were talking about. No points for that truck of Brett Moffitt's.
It's kind of old school qualifying. We don't see too often single truck. We will have 2 rounds though, so you want to make it to the round of 10, and then we'll decide the pole sitter. Stay with us. It's Craftsman Truck Series qualifying from Talladega. And welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway as Keith McGee wraps up his lap here. Air Force veteran from Alaska. Good to see him back in the series. Some shiny numbers on the side.
Well, Brett Moffitt's resting a little bit easier now. He's starting to put some trucks behind him. Clay Greenfield with an issue. There you see Clay.
And we mentioned that he couldn't get it fired. We're told he will not be able to take a lap, so he's going to be one of those trucks not guaranteed in. Call it a day before the day even got started.
Tough break. As hard as those teams work to get here, and then for something like that to happen, it just breaks your heart for them.
Let's check in with Mr. Josh Sims. Hello, Josh.
How you guys doing? Down here with David Gilliland. Second start of the season for you. What are you looking for? What are your expectations at a place where you got a runner-up finish in the Cup Series, albeit back in the day?
Yeah, it's been a little bit, but you know, we want to win. You know, everybody at Tricon Garage has worked really hard. Really incredibly proud of the 5 trucks that we've brought here, and you know, the speed that we expect them to have. So really excited about that. Want to thank Serial One Cycles and Serial1.com for coming on board. Everybody get out and buy yourself a bicycle so we can do this more. So it's a lot of fun. We're excited. Our main goal is to get a Toyota Tundra parked in Victory Lane.
There you go. Appreciate your time and good luck.
Co-owner at Tricon Garage, 47 years old. What do you guys think of his decision to come out here and race at Talladega of all places?
I don't blame him. I think if I was in that position, I think I would too.
Yeah, I'd say put my name on one of these trucks, please. And
We've got 5 of them anyway.
We're going to go have some fun.
So we'll see David Gilliland come up here momentarily for his qualifying run. Second race of the year as Jason White is on track.
I'm like you, Mike. I was worried about Brett Moffitt's lap time when he initially ran, but he's beaten all but one of the trucks that have gone so far.
We were down into the 53s for a fast lap a year ago, so you would have thought maybe he had needed to run about that, but a little bit slower this time around.
Greg Van Alst. Handful of Truck Series races, but you remember his highlight this year. We talk about it all the time, right, Phil? Went to Victory Lane at Daytona in the ARCA Menard Series and just had about the best, most exciting interview that we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, just so emotional. You know, he just said, "I can't believe that I won at Daytona." So we're gonna have another ARCA race tonight, the penultimate ARCA race of the season from Salem, Indiana tonight.
What a great little racetrack. I remember going there when I was a kid. My mom and dad load me up the back of the car and we go watch DW hit those high banks. What an exciting racetrack that is.
And that racetrack is banked exactly the same as this one, 33 degrees on a half-mile track.
It's just the straightaways that hook those 2 ends together are quite a lot shorter.
That's coming up at 7:30 tonight on FS2.
Those corners are a lot rougher than they are here at this smooth Talladega.
Van Alst hops up to the fastest truck. He was able to go in front of Doza.
Talladega always brings some really fast trucks here to Talladega as well as Daytona.
Van Alst with the 54.63 as we welcome Garrett Smithley back to the Truck Series. See him often in the Xfinity Series, but we used to see him more in the trucks, the Cup Series, so it's nice to see him back.
He just made some sporadic starts over the years. The majority of the Xfinity races that he has run has been for Johnny Davis.
Listen to him on Sirius XM this morning talking about his day up early, as you pointed out, Jamie, and getting behind the wheel of a truck, making sure you nail the shifts, you nail the launch off pit road to give yourself the best chance you can to have a fast lap. And Garrett was really looking forward to getting this truck in the show and then what this afternoon's going to mean for him. He thinks he can go win this race, and you can't argue with him about that for sure.
Yeah, Tyler Young's trucks have won 2 of the last 4 races here at Talladega. Fourth quickest for Garrett.
There's Parker Kligerman warming up that back. He's coming up next. Jack Wood, Jake Drew, stay with us in Talladega.
Today, it's a huge day of football on Fox, and it all kicks off with Big Noon Saturday as Caleb Williams leads 8th-ranked Trojans against Coach Prime's Buffaloes.
This kid is unreal.
Then J.J. McCarthy and number 2 Michigan face Nebraska.
He's going down.
It all kicks off today at noon Eastern on Fox.
It's a beautiful morning at Talladega Super Speedway. A little smoke in the air. Love that smell. All the campers last night. It's going to be a nice packed house this
Gorgeous
afternoon.
day. Just a gorgeous
Sunday.
day.
Love that. No rain in the forecast.
Weather is perfect.
Yes, it is. Craftsman Truck Series race coming up at 1 Eastern. Keep it with us. Have lunch with us. Breakfast with us, then lunch later.
And then come back for dinner for Salem, Indiana, ARCA race.
Jesse Love going to clinch the championship tonight.
Yeah, if you can't make it to Salem, there's a boulevard in Talladega that's going to be action-packed as well.
I didn't make it out there, but our own Bob Pockrass hit the streets last night.
It's always a great time in Talladega.
Our 2019 winner, Spencer Boyd, for Tyler Young.
One of the many first-time winners at Talladega. So cool.
Spencer's always run well at Talladega. He got a 7th place finish here in 21.
Yeah, he's had top 5s at Daytona as well.
That just makes a driver just so much look forward to cranking that engine, knowing that, you know, a lot of the racetracks, you don't have a chance to win. The performance just hasn't shown you that you have any reason to think that you're going to go win the race. Well, he looks at his history here and he says, we can get it done today, and that's a great feeling.
And you mentioned average starting position of the winners here, about 20th.
Yeah.
So, you know, you qualify 20th at a place like Charlotte. Maybe you're a little bit worried, but you qualified 20th here, you're right in the middle of it.
Spencer does a great job working the sponsors. Alabama Roofers on that one, I believe. Saw a press release from Spencer about his partnership. Looking forward to this race.
A lot on his plate. You know, you mentioned it. He's a businessman, then he's the driver, has to jump in behind the wheel, but he does such a nice job. He was so excited to bring this sponsor on, local to Alabama, as you mentioned. So hope for good things. Spencer Boyd.
55.23.
Good enough for 6th.
Yeah, and have we locked in Moffitt now?
Not yet.
Let's
No,
do the math.
We're getting close.
This could take a while.
Yeah, I'm doing math. Is that what you're saying?
I think one more.
Hold on. One more. Let me get my shoe off.
One more will lock in Moffitt. He's beat 8. You have to beat 9.
Yeah, he's there.
Well, we talked about first-time winners at Talladega. There's been some great memories made at this racetrack over the years.
That was incredible. Well, he's got the checkered flag.
Johnny Sauter wins, but this finish is under review. Spencer Boyd has won at Talladega.
Besides the leader on the inside.
And he's rewarded with a win at Talladega.
They speed going across the start-finish line, and Tate Vogelman has won. Oh, they're going to crack right past the line. We'll wait for scoring. Matt DiBenedetto as the winner.
And last year, wow. I mean, we all had to hold our breath. Who was the winner? It was a three-way battle. And Brett Holmes, you know, he's a local kid, grew up 20 minutes from there, thought maybe it was his day, but it wasn't. As Tyler Hill is on track, he'll clock in there at 54.95, currently 6th.
if my math is correct, Brett Moffitt has now locked himself into this show. So
you're exactly right.
You can put your shoes back on.
Yeah.
Counting's over.
This truck should be fast. They've been fast with these Tricon Garage trucks every week.
This will be a good indicator too for the rest of the team. Obviously, Corey Heim, the leader of that outfit, already locked in to the championship race.
To see David Gilliland back behind the wheel just the second time this year, but he knows how to get around these places.
E-cycles are interesting to me. You're riding a bike, but you don't have to pedal. But if you choose to, you can. So if you get a little tired, you just lean on that E part of the bike.
Good for long distances.
I'm thinking I'm liking it.
Good looking truck too.
Last time David was here in a truck back in 2018, we did an event for the Birmingham Humane Society, and he was there, and there were puppies. He took one of the puppies home, brought it to the racetrack, got the pole. Right now, he's first. Is it good enough? Stay with us. Welcome back to Talladega, Alabama. Something this gentleman loves to hear. Brett Holmes, just down the way, about 20 minutes in Munford, Alabama.
So close last year to go into victory lane here. Was leading on the last lap and all the chaos that ensued with that big wreck on the last lap.
Chaos in Talladega. How many times have we put those two words in the same sentence?
More than once a race, for sure.
No doubt. Clocks in at a 54.33. That's good enough for third.
Here comes the Tide ride. Look at that fancy ride.
Brings back some memories, doesn't it?
It sure does. ODW. Bet he's up having morning coffee watching Talladega qualifying right now.
I hope he is. Good morning, DW.
Got to have a night the other night with Richard Petty. So many great memories. They roasted him in Winston-Salem for their the Petty Family Foundation. So much fun.
Raja Karuth, one of the drivers waiting to go out. He's with Josh.
Yeah, and a lot for Raja to smile about these days. The announcement a couple days ago that you'll get a chance to be in Xfinity Series with Hendrick in the 17 car. Of course, you come off a 6th place finish at Bristol. But for you, what have you learned about super speedway driving and how to handle this race?
Yeah, really, Josh, I've learned a lot from my spotter, Chris Lambert. You know, 3 Daytona 500s and a couple Dega wins. I feel like he's the best on the roof, so he's helped me a lot in preparing for this racing. But I feel pretty good about our Wendell Scott Foundation Silverado. I think it'll race really well. And I'm excited to just get going today for Mike B, Maury Gallagher, Ron Booth, and everybody at GMS.
Nice and good luck, Rush.
It's a nice young man right there.
A lot of talent. A lot of talent.
First year in the Truck Series, and as you heard Josh mention there, he's had some starts in the Xfinity Series, done a nice job there. While we were in break, Dean Thompson jumped to the top of the board, bested his boss man for Tricon Garage by a 10th with the 54.14.
Parker Kligerman clocks in third in that Tide ride.
Jack Wood, Kyle Busch Motorsports, some big news this week. I think caught a lot of people off guard.
Maybe some of the biggest news we've had in the Truck Series in a long, long time.
Maybe as big as the 100th win they got.
Yes.
And then after that,
Kyle Busch said, you know what, I got the 100th win. I got the first win for the company. We're good. Spire Motorsports stepped up. They've been making some headlines. They bought Kyle Busch Motorsports, and with that, they bought the state-of-the-art building. Rowdy Manufacturing, who, by the way, builds chassis, and any given weekend, 6 to 10 chassis on the racetrack were built by Rowdy Manufacturing. So, big moves.
Yeah, good lap, too, for Jack Wood, top of the board.
You see it here. Kyle Busch, April 2010, comes out and gets the first win for his own race team. The different faces, I mean, this doesn't tell the whole story.
18 different drivers have won in KBM stuff.
A majority of them are racing on Sundays. So his contribution to the sport of NASCAR as a whole has been incredible. And yeah, it's a big acquisition, but I'm excited to hear that Spire Motorsports planning on running 3 trucks next year. Hearing Nick Sanchez is definitely a lock. He'll be with that team next year.
Yeah, and Zane Smith is going over to the Cup side of Spire Motorsports. Some more news that's come out in the last couple of weeks.
Which is interesting because he signed with Trackhouse, but they worked a deal with Spire so that Zane could run there next year. So great job for Zane. We've been talking about it. He told us he wants to get to the Cup Series, so a lot to smile about, but he's got a lot on the line this weekend too, right, Josh?
Yeah, the future's certainly bright for Zane Smith. You talked about it, Jamie, but how about today entering this race where you're on the cut line and having to sit for a couple of weeks with what happened at Bristol?
Yeah, I mean, definitely wish we were in a different position with our Love's RV Stop Ford F-150. So, but it is what it is. We're 14 out. I think the 23 is the next closest to us, and he's a pretty good speedway racer. So we've had a lot of success at Daytona, but haven't really been able to finish that into an end result at Talladega. So hopefully today's the day, but I feel good about our truck. This is what we won with at Daytona, and I've ran well in the past. So I have a teammate in Brett Moffitt, which I've worked with in the past at GMS, and yeah, excited for that. So thankful for Freight Auctions for allowing this all to happen, and everyone at FRM for all the hard work. So yeah, hopefully we could have a solid day, and I don't know, have a little less pressure down in Homestead.
And you talk about the future for you. Obviously, I mentioned before, it looks bright. What does it mean to know the future is set and you have that Cup ride going forward? Yeah,
it's huge. I'm so excited for, one, to have an opportunity with Spire Motorsports, but ultimately with Trackhouse Racing, and just the people that Trackhouse have, and the leadership that Justin Marks has, and the people he's assembled. It's hard not to be excited about, to be a part of. So excited for that, and just excited to know what my future looks like for the next coming years. And but all focus is on winning this championship and capping off the past few years I've had in the Truck Series strong.
Thanks, Zane, and good luck.
And what Zane Smith has done in the Truck Series has been remarkable. 3 years, he finished second in the championship, and then won the championship last year. So now he has to just get himself there for another opportunity. Plenty more qualifying coming up. Chandler Smith back in the Truck Series, and Daniel Dye, best hair in the business. Welcome back to Craftsman Truck Series playoffs. We're live from Talladega. Jack Wood, so far the fastest man here with a 53.99, just over 177 miles per hour. And that is the 25 truck. But this week, guys, we've been talking about the news. Matt DiBenedetto not behind the wheel. He announced last week that, well, 2 weeks ago he said he wasn't returning next year. Then last week the team announced that he would no longer be in this ride for the remaining 3 races of this season. They decided to part ways, and Chandler Smith got the call.
Well, according to Matt, they didn't decide to part ways. They parted ways. The team decided to move on, and Matt's looking forward to his future. He was really disappointed not to be here in Talladega, but he's going to be back, he said, and has the same passion and desire he's always had, but the team just decided it was best for them to move on right now. And so
once they got knocked out of the playoffs,
you know, when it's everybody has a different opinion on how these things go down, but the team decided that was their best direction, and Matt was very disappointed about that.
And Chad Kendrick I listened to him this week talking about the situation. He said, we were so close with Matt, it was like a death in the family, you know, when we learned that he wasn't going to come back. And he said some things happened behind the scenes sponsorship-wise that they just weren't able to move forward with Matt DiBenedetto. So Matt's out there. I know he's hungry. He wants to come back next year, so we wish good things for him.
Yeah, talented driver. So
absolutely.
He'll rebound nicely.
I like
always
that.
A fan favorite, right?
And then you got to appreciate this team. They bring competitive trucks week in and week out. They do a great job. Looking forward to see what their future is.
Chandler Smith, a 5-time winner in the Truck Series, finished 3rd last year with Kyle Busch Motorsports, and he's currently 10th. Josh.
Thanks, Carson. We're on air right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so let's talk about Talladega, buddy. How are you feeling about your chances out here today, and how you feeling about your chances of advancing through to the next round with all the uncertainty that happens at Super Speedway?
I mean, I'm glad we achieved our goal. Running really good at Bristol, you know, got us at least a good comfort zone, and in the green. That's what I wanted to do here. I wanted to minimize my loss, right? You know, have to be able just to be content and okay today, and not have to go game, because even if I do lose, I kind of like drop back and I'll be even going into Homestead. I feel really good when we get to Homestead. Where if you lose, you're in a must-win, you gotta get desperate at Homestead. So I feel good. I feel like our car is good. I feel like we'll be able to qualify hopefully up front, and then be able to race and be aggressive. And you know, that
cushion allows me to be aggressive and be okay with making risks, just knowing that I have some in the bank. So 42 is going to try to run up front and not ride one bit.
And Jamie, he was talking about his aspirations to report on pit road, so he's coming for your job. Watch out.
Look out. He's good behind the microphone. Very entertaining. He always has an interesting outlook on things. But all kidding aside, that young man has done incredible things this year. Every time he gets in the Cup Series, I mean, he's averaging 16th place finishes in that 42 for Legacy Motor Club.
Yeah, Xfinity Series as well, piling up top 10 finishes over there. Bright future for that young man. And again, he may have a championship as he leaves the Truck Series possibly after this year.
But by the way, they haven't announced where he's going next year, so we're all waiting. Where does Carson?
We're assuming he's leaving the Truck Series anyway.
Assume, yes.
Tanner Gray with a nice lap, top 10 there so far. He was 54.41 when he ran, and now another guy that's been in the news, Daniel Dye, making his run here at Talladega.
I'm glad we have this qualifying session to just air it all out. There's a lot of news. Daniel Dye signed a deal with Bill McAnally to race for his team next year. They're hoping to be a 3-truck team, 2 guaranteed with Christian Eckes. Now you have Daniel Dye. They hope Jake Garcia will return. But if not, they'll be on the lookout. They would like to run 3 full-time teams. So what they're doing over there is incredible this year. Just the uptick, the performance, everything. So I know Daniel Dye, your golfing buddy, Mikey.
That's right. He's really looking forward to his opportunity in 2024, whatever comes his way. He's really, and it could be, he ran an Xfinity race.
Did a nice job.
Yeah, top 20 finish. Did just what he needed to do at Texas, and he's going to get to run a couple more times this year. So he's much looking forward to what's lies ahead.
So you see Daniel Dye currently 12th, 54.74.
He's right ahead of Brian Doza, and we talked about Brian early, that was a solid lap. Put him on your list of possible winners because he's got some speed in his truck, and that number 28 out qualifying Brett Moffitt, Garrett Smithley, Ryan Vargas, people we know that can get it up front.
Well, the hottest man in the Truck Series right now is Christian Eckes. He's with Josh.
Christian, you've been as consistent as they come running up front all playoff long, but I know it had to be tough to sit with what happened at Bristol. How have you been able to reset, get over that, and focus on today?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us was just to know that it's in the past, right? To look on to the next race, which is Talladega here this weekend. So, yeah, that one still stings. I think it's going to sting for a really long time, but at the same time, we got to refocus our efforts and try to get to the championship off points or to win the next 2. So, feel like we got a pretty good Napa Auto Care Chevrolet. We were good at Daytona. Led some laps there. I think led the most laps. So, I always like speed racing, so it should be a fun weekend.
Playoff stash looks great, bro.
I'm glad he trimmed it. I'm glad that you like that. As you see the playoff standings there, Corey Heim with that 1 win. He is the only driver in NASCAR, by the way, with a punch ticket to the playoffs in Phoenix. But you see below the cut line, Zane Smith, Ben Rhodes, Nick Sanchez, Ty Majeski.
Tyler Ankrum clocked in the 10th position. Nice starting spot for that young man.
And you say top 10, 10th, potential winner.
It's going to be a really short list, Phil, of folks that I won't put on the potential winner list, and maybe only a couple I would be brave enough to say that about.
Could be anybody's day. That's why we love this style of racing, right? It usually comes down to the last 50 feet or so. Haley Deegan, the 22-year-old.
Now you see, this is something I want, and I'll drop it eventually, but you see that yellow line? That's the cut line. That's real. Like, if you're below that line, you're not going to run in the final round of qualifying. Get it?
Yeah.
You can't go up. You can't get back up there. It's for real. Now the playoff cut line, it's going to move around all day long today. That's why it's so intriguing to me to see who's able to make those moves, get those stage points, and have a great day.
Move around till the checkered flag.
That's right.
History is any indication, right? Haley Deegan with the 54.49. Good for 11th. Carson Hosbar is waiting his chance to come up. Christian Eckes and the stash as he patiently waits. Corey Heim. Will it be Heim time again? We'll see. Welcome back to Talladega Super Speedway. Qualifying underway as Matt Crafton just clocked in at 5th so far. It's 54.26. Jack Wood, though, holds on to the top spot. Dean Thompson, Jake Drew, David Gilliland. Yes, David Gilliland back in the Truck Series, 4th quickest so far.
What about Josh telling David that he finished runner-up at Talladega back in the day? What's that make our wins, Phil, if that's back in the day?
Way back in the day.
What is back in the day, like 10 years and beyond?
Yeah, that depends on how old you are.
That's true.
It gets to be a bigger window.
Well, Josh is just a pup himself, so 10 years.
Bailey Curry is 15th. He made a run while we were away at break.
Look at this lap.
Stuart Friesen as well took a lap, shown 10th right now.
Oh, Jake was flirting. I mean, now he's floated down.
Good lap, 54.031.
Jake Garcia to 2nd.
Over 177 miles an hour for Jake.
Who needs coffee when you just wake up and hammer down? 177 miles an hour.
You see Jack Wood up top. You know how much speed those KBM trucks had at Daytona earlier this year. Nick Sanchez set on the pole with a close alliance with KBM for Rev Racing.
Raja Karuth, heard from him earlier with Josh. He's a name that could end up perhaps at Spire Motorsports.
Raja matched his season best of 6th last time out at Bristol.
25th career start.
No one would be surprised to see not just here at Talladega, but Raja to go to victory lane. He's shown a lot of speed lately, getting better.
Solid lap going here for Raja.
6th at Bristol. That had to pump up him and this team, right? And they had a weekend off to think about it. And 8th for Raja Karuth. Remember, the 10 fastest will make it to the 2nd round. We've got all the playoff drivers still to come. Zane Smith is ready to go. Stay with us here from Talladega.
Track that worries me the most in the playoffs is Talladega.
I hate to say it because it's my home track and I love that place, but it's Talladega.
Definitely Talladega. I think that goes without saying. A big wild card for everybody. I don't want to say there's luck, but there's definitely luck that goes into that race.
It's anyone's game, and a lot could happen fast.
Every year, people that have ran really well don't make it.
I find it's a race that you can be very intentional with, and you can really put yourself in a position to have a great points day if you play it smart.
Well, boys, the wild card race is here. And you hear the nerves. I mean, that was during media week right before the playoffs started, and these drivers are all concerned about this place.
That room made me kind of nervous. All the darkness, and they just kind of set them up to be on the edge.
With the big trophy sitting there staring at you.
Phil, this is one of your favorites for the pole, huh?
Sure is. Remember how much speed these KBM trucks had last year. Chase Purdy's really done a nice job this year. Had a solid season.
2 top 10s in the last 3 races.
Look at this lap.
Yeah, it's tracking right around. Oh, back up top there. That must be how close it is, because it bounced between 4th and 1st. So it has to be really, really close. I have him penciled in as one of my favorites for the pole, as well as Nick Sanchez, our pole winner from Daytona.
I don't know who I'm going to pencil in, but it might be Christian X. I love Christian X. He's a lot of fun. I said that on purpose, y'all. I know it. I know how to say his name.
Josh Sims.
Let's have some fun, Josh. What do you say?
Well, I'm down here with Brett Holmes, coming back to his hometown track. You were so close to getting the win last year, and after the race you said, I want to win here so bad, I can't stand it. What would a win here mean to you?
It's everything to us, man. This track and this place, these people, it's everything to us. Just being from here, and growing up racing a dirt track across the road. So got a lot of people here today. Got a local sponsor in First Bank, Alabama. we've just been so close so many times in the ARCA series and in the last couple races in trucks. So it's hard to put yourself in these positions in races, but we've found a way to make it up there. We've done a lot better today. Our crews worked their tails off the last couple weeks to finish off the year strong. So it looks like we're going to qualify as good as we ever have at Super Speedway. So hopefully it'll pay off in the race.
And Brett said he's got 68 people in the infield, guys.
Look out if he goes to victory lane. What a victory lane that would be, right?
It'll be a mob.
Absolutely. He can't wait to get another go at it. Is Taylor Gray, the youngest Gray brother, 18 years old, out of Denver, North Carolina. He's tracking forward.
Yeah, solid lap going. But how about that lap by Chase Purdy?
You called it so far.
Wow. 0.4 of a second faster than Jack Wood.
The only person I've seen do that is Garcia. Or Sanchez. They've jumped up there and put up some solid laps throughout the season. Sanchez particularly.
Lost quite a bit there for the 17. Comes in 17th.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened. Normally, you don't lose or gain a whole lot once you start the lap. But Taylor was up in the top 10.
And I didn't see any steam coming out of the hood. So look at this problem.
Playoff drivers coming up. Zane Smith, this was just 2 weeks ago, our last race at Bristol.
Huge mistake. You see that right front tire on the white line there. Was deemed pitting outside the box and penalized for that.
And he's in a bit of a bind, I think you'd have to say, especially considering we're at Talladega, knowing what's on the line and knowing the strategy just has to be hammered down. We heard Carson Hocevar say earlier in the broadcast that he was going to have that plan. He's going to try to win every lap of the race.
You guys think he's sponsored by Love's RV Stop?
We love Love.
We love Love.
We love Love.
It's Love's RV Stop 250, and this is their driver. He wants to turn things around, and Zane said something, and I went back and I looked at the quote, and he said, I hate having breaks during the playoffs. It's hard to stay just focused, and he said, especially when you have a bad race, and that's what happened to them 2 weeks ago. So I know just being in this truck right now is all he's been waiting for and counting down for 2 weeks.
12th quickest for Zane at a 54.37. Potential winner.
That's right. Another potential winner. How about Ty Majeski?
Without a doubt, another potential winner. What a dominating performance at IRP earlier this year in the playoffs.
He started the playoffs with a bang. Everybody look into that 98 team. The wins that he's had in his career have all come from the playoffs.
Everyone, all three. That's right.
And by the way, the next race, Homestead, he won there last year, so they got to be feeling good about things. But remember, Joe Shear, his crew chief, suspended until Phoenix, so they're battling with a little bit of change over there right now.
Flat tire there at Bristol.
And you mentioned it earlier, Phil, some of our playoff favorites find themselves looking up toward what it's going to take to get into the next round. And Talladega here looms. It's going to be so much, to me, the race this afternoon, maybe one of the most interesting ones of the year because of the playoffs and seeing who's able to get those stage points and how you go about trying to win the race at the end.
And like we talk about, the points are going to fluctuate every single lap.
Fourth quick for Ty Majeski. Good lap for him. Ben Rhodes, his issues came at Kansas a couple of races ago. Got into the wall there.
Really fighting an ill-handling truck at Kansas and was trying to make the best out of it, but unfortunately got into the outside wall there.
Went a lap down. But it's interesting, he's one of the drivers, when you talk to him, he's excited about Talladega. I remember last year I was on pit road and it's all about your attitude, right? And he was so excited about the truck they had brought and about his opportunity. And we're looking at it as an opportunity, whether you're in the playoffs or not. Talladega really is something where everybody could win, anybody.
My entire career, I always wanted to go fast, so I always look forward to Daytona and Talladega because those were the fastest tracks that we had and couldn't wait to get there.
And I was the same way about those tracks, Phil, but it was because of draft. I just loved how you could use the air to make your passes and make your moves. Maybe one day you didn't have the fastest car, but if you put it in the right spots throughout the course of the race, you could have a great finish.
Ben Rhodes hovering in that 6th spot.
Lock her down.
And that's where he'll end up. Sanchez, the rookie. Back to Milwaukee was a rough one for him. Hits the wall off turn 2 mid-race.
Hello.
Checked up there to avoid the 13 of Haley Deegan. But it didn't end there. He got dumped by the 11, and that was just one race he wants to forget.
He's in 22 points below the cut line. Needs a solid effort here today.
He's got a win here in the ARCA Menard Series. Knows how to race these drafting style of tracks. He's been a master when it comes to qualifying. 4 poles already this year.
Just crazy speed at times. You know, he's just done a great job of showing how much talent he has behind the wheel.
I mean, dominated the race at Texas earlier this year till the very last lap. Got turned around on the last lap. Solid lap here. Looks like it's probably going to be second. He can hold on to it.
And second it'll be for Nick Sanchez. As you see him highlighted in that goldish yellow, you see down the pylon there, and that's our playoff drivers and where they stack up. How about Grant Enfinger?
This has been a fun story. Issues, though, like all of our playoff drivers.
Nobody's unscathed, right?
He's been really fast, showing a lot of speed. Look at that. Battling with Carson Hocevar.
But goes to victory lane at Milwaukee.
The Milwaukee Mile.
For his 3rd one of the year.
It's been a great season for him, and now he comes to his home track, the Alabama native.
Was looking at our playoff grid. Right now our top 4, Koyheim, Eckes, Hocevar, and Enfinger, all have won 3 races this year. All 4 of those drivers have won 3 races. Nobody's won any more than that.
The only driver in the playoffs that hasn't won a race yet, Nick Sanchez. And guess what? He's from Miami, going to Homestead, his home track, first place he ever saw a truck race. So I know that young man's excited about that opportunity, but he'd like to lock himself in here before we get there.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter where this truck qualifies. He's going to be confident when they throw the green flag this afternoon, isn't he?
Yeah, the only playoff driver in the field that has won here at Talladega, and he wasn't in the playoffs. He wasn't playoff eligible the year he won.
And he might be even more excited now. He qualified 22nd.
Oh, boy.
That's right where the average finish for the winner, start for the winner has come.
How about Carson Hocevar? He has been on fire, literally, figuratively. 3 wins this season. Wants to get himself locked in, but it's been great. They haven't had a whole lot of issues. A lot of celebrating in his highlight reel.
Yeah, you don't want to say, well, I certainly don't want my issue here if I haven't had any yet.
No doubt. Hocevar talked about last year, his tongue was wagging just trying to make the playoffs, and now he makes it into the round of 8. All smiles, been jumping in that Cup Series ride. I think it's helping him over here. He's just been a different driver this year.
Check this out. I want to show you what it's like to run a lap at Talladega by looking at the old foot cam. Now, it's interesting to me, Phil, because the foot cam is going to be pretty much just on the floorboard.
for this lap.
For this lap. But there it is. You see that foot hovering over around the left foot, hovering around the clutch. Pushes that in off the engine. 3rd fastest for Carson Hocevar. Great lap. But how much action is going to be going on that right box this afternoon between the brake, the clutch? The clutch will be out of the program, but the brake and the gas are going to be so active. Drivers just maneuvering that truck with their feet the best they can.
Yeah, a lot of people think, well, you run wide open here. You don't use the brake. You use the brake a lot here at this place.
Moving on to Christian Eckes. Say he and Hocevar, the 2 best drivers in the playoffs so far. They really haven't had any issues. As you see, Christian Eckes, he's excited not just to win, but he wins a race under green for the first time this year. He goes to victory lane for the 3rd time. And
that Kansas finish looked like the Talladega finish we're able to see this afternoon.
They were only 4 wide behind him.
That was exciting, and that stash, it just continues to make its way
throughout the playoffs.
Yes, it is. He said he trimmed it up a little bit, but whatever it takes. You guys are so superstitious, you drivers.
We got to get ourselves locked into that top 10, Phil. You can see right there, Eckes flirting with it. Get locked into that top 10 and go for the pole in round 2. Does he slip outside the top 10? Yeah. Is that thing getting hot, or you think that's what, or does our tracker need some adjusting? Because that's just weird the way it falls down right at the end.
Christian Eckes 15th quick.
So he will not be able to make it into the second round.
How about Heim time? Sitting on top, breathing easy today.
What a season it's been for this young man.
Penalty there. You see, this was last race. That was that IRP, pit road violation. But this is Bristol, and this is what he wants to remember.
Just a late pass on Christian Eckes. Locks him in the championship 4, but what a season. 13 consecutive top 10 finishes for that young man.
Has that ever been done before?
It has, but he's the youngest to ever do it.
That's amazing. Especially to consider the tracks we go to. Road courses, short tracks.
Corey Heim with 3 poles on the season.
There's some speed. Some of his teammates, he has 2 of his teammates right now up in the top 10. Let's see if he can bust his way into the top 10 and advance to the second round.
Knowing him and his crew chief, Scott Zipadelli, they're not laying over by any stretch of the imagination. They want to win. You see the green there? That means he has punched his ticket to Phoenix, and he's 7th fastest. This man right here, the Purdy Party, Chase Purdy, fastest so far. Round 2, plenty more qualifying coming up. Welcome back to a nice packed infield at Talladega Super Speedway. Great night for partying last night. Gonna do it again tonight. But we've got some racing action to tend to first and some qualifying action. After the first round, Chase Purdy on top, the fastest. Nick Sanchez just behind him, Carson Hocevar, Jack Wood, and Jake Garcia, your top 5. So all 10 drivers will have a shot for the pole here in round 2.
Nice job by Jake Drew to make this second round.
Ben Rhodes needs a good run in a good spot.
And he's got a good attitude, Michael.
Yeah.
Do it.
He likes to rough it up with them.
He does.
5 of these top 10 are playoff drivers.
So those were the fastest of the day so far, and these are the 4 that failed to qualify. Jennifer Jo Cobb, Spencer Boyd, a former winner. Unfortunate for him. Keith McGee and Clay Greenfield, all that effort, got to the track, couldn't fire it. Couldn't even get a lap in today. So 40 trucks showed up for 36 spots. So we know who the 36 will be. What do you have, Josh?
Here with one of our playoff drivers, Grant Enfinger, didn't qualify the way you wanted. So what did you learn about the truck? What do you need? And how's this shift the focus going into the race?
Yeah, one lap, not a whole lot to learn other than there didn't seem to be any major issues other than our speed. You know, we just didn't have the single truck speed that we were looking for. We put a lot of focus on this truck. We wanted to qualify good, but hey, we're 25th. We'll just have to regroup and make it happen from the back. But the speedway racing stuff's going to be getting shuffled around the whole race. But there is a priority that we're putting on the stages. So we need to get some stage points, and we'll do the best we can with our Champion Power Equipment Chevrolet.
I think it's interesting when I talked to you earlier, we always talk about how unpredictable these races are, but you said there are things that you as the driver can control.
Absolutely, and you know, a lot of that is based on the truck you have and the confidence that you have and the confidence of the guys around you to go with you. So speedway races is something I've always looked forward to. Yeah, I get frustrated sometimes. There is stuff out of your control, but there's a lot that you can control. So that's myself and Jeff Hensley and Tyler Mond's job today. Focus on the things we can control and make the most of it out of our situation. Whether we qualify 25th or on the pole, that job doesn't change.
It's a great mindset for Grant, guys.
I love everything he said. I can control a lot of what will go on today, and that's exactly right. That's a veteran. He's won at Talladega before. Very confident. I love what he said.
And here's a look at the playoff leaderboard. We've been talking about it all day. It's been a good season, a good postseason for Grant Enfinger. He's not worried about qualifying mid-pack. You can win from anywhere here.
Yeah, he's certainly a potential winner. I was talking to Jeff Hensley this morning, and he said this is the same truck that we qualified finished 5th with at Daytona. We worked on it a lot, felt like we went in the right direction, obviously, for one lap. it didn't quite happen, but it'll be a contender here later on this afternoon.
Plenty more to come. We have one more round of qualifying, but later on today, you just stay put. Race day at noon Eastern. Caitlin Mincy and the boys coming up, and then the Loves RV Stop 250. It's Craftsman Truck Series, race number 2 of the second round. Stay with us right here. We hope you're enjoying your morning with us. Welcome back to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series qualifying as we await the round of 10. Jamie Little, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, and Josh Sims with you.
How's that feel, Phil?
Phil?
Yeah. This is Talladega. I mean, even to this day, in my later years, that's just exciting. I mean, it just gets you fired up when you think about the history of this place and what potential we have for somebody this afternoon to be a first-time winner. Just all the action and drama that'll take place.
First went there in 1969 for the ARCA, 500-mile ARCA race that my brother Benny was in. Benny sat on the pole, I believe, that day and did not finish the race.
I was in the grandstands in 1981 when Darrell Waltrip came off turn 4. I was sure, I'd driven up from Kentucky. I was sure he's coming to get the checkered, and Ron Bouchard shot right between, I think, he and Terry Labonte and stole that victory. Just because the start-finish line was down where they put it has changed the outcome of so many races.
There's no telling how many races
that's right.
that the winner would have been different in the normal spot of the tri-oval. There's that start-finish line right there.
Gosh, you guys talk about, what about a driver like Jake Drew? He's in the Fast 10 here, but to come here for the first time, just how big your eyes must be. There's 10 drivers waiting patiently. Josh, what do you have?
Down here with Corey Heim. And Corey, I know you're probably the one guy in the field that doesn't have to deal with any of the stress of worrying about advancing. You're already through to the championship 4, so what's the process for you today?
Yeah, I'm just certainly glad to be in the position I'm at with Tricon Garage and Twitter Racing. Huge thank you to them for putting me in this position. But yeah, just having some fun here at Talladega. It's one of the tougher tracks to get around just because it's so situation dependent, but luckily it points are out the window, so we're just focused on winning the race today.
Thanks and good luck, Corey.
Corey knows how to get around here. He won an ARCA race here in 2021.
You saw his only 2 finishes this year out of the top 10. One of those was the dirt race at Bristol, and the other was a drafting race at Atlanta. So what an incredible season he has had.
You see it there, 507 laps led. Most of all drivers in the field. He's not a rookie, technically. He was Rookie of the Year last year because he was part-time, but his first full season, he even missed a race because of illness, and still, the numbers, you would never know.
He missed a race in the regular season and still won the regular season championship.
Yes. 3 wins. He and Scott Zipadelli are a dynamic duo, no doubt. Well, you'll see Corey Heim and their others qualify who will be fastest for the polls. Stay with us. It is a beautiful morning here at Talladega Super Speedway. Love to see it. Love this place. We're happy that you're joining us. As we get ready to kick things off for round 2 of qualifying, let's head downstairs once again to Josh.
Here with Ty Majeski, and you enter the day 22 points out from the cut. How does that impact how you're going to handle today?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just trying to get a good qualifying effort, trying to get around a couple of our teammates, and just trying to stay up front all day, right? We got to have a good, solid day. I don't think we're in a must-win situation yet. But we certainly have to chip into it today. So the goal is to try and get within 10 points of the cutoff before Homestead. We feel like we have a decent shot going to Homestead, a place we won at last year. So excited to have Soda Sense on board. I have a pretty fast Ford F-150, and hopefully we can put in the top 5 here and put ourselves in a good spot.
And what have you learned over the years about how to handle a place like Talladega, even with as few starts you have here?
Well, my experience level is pretty small on super speedways. I think this will be my 4th super speedway race. So not a lot of experience, just trying to really lean on my teammates, Ben Rose specifically, to just help us have a good day today. So just lean on the people around me and trying to do as much studying as I can, watching former races, and just trying to put it all together and have ourselves a good day.
Thanks and good luck, Ty.
Well, no matter what happens here, and you know he'll be qualifying in the top 10. All right, so This is where we've been. IRP right there in Indianapolis.
Started off with Tom Majeski winning, then Grant Enfinger gets a big win in Milwaukee.
And then Christian Eckes saw that exciting finish, 4 wide to the checker. He grabs it out in the heartland.
Down south a little bit, Talladega, Alabama, and we're going to go way down south to Homestead, Miami, October 21st, and then we're going all the way back.
We're going to fly. We're not going to ride that pickup truck all the way out to Phoenix, though.
Jump in that plane. 4 drivers have a shot at the championship. Can't wait.
One of those will be Corey Heim, for sure. We know that.
That's right. First up here, Jake Drew at a 54-17 in round number 1. Won the ARCA West Championship last year, trying to make his name here in the Truck Series. He's ran a handful of races and a great qualifying effort for today in his first time here at Talladega.
He had a 10th place finish at Kansas. Really nice job. All 4 of his finishes this year in the top 20.
ARCA Menards West Series champion. 4 wins. That's got to feel good to be able to make a statement like that in ARCA and then come to the trucks and be solid in your starts. That's what it's all about right now. Well, that's what it's been about till today. Now it's about, let's go win. We can win today.
Got a few drivers in this top 10 that are from California. He's one of them, from Fullerton, California. Teammates with Tyler Ankrum. Nice to have a teammate here, so running a second truck is always a good thing. When you need to run in the pack, you need a little bit of help.
You never know when you want to need that help, too, so it's nice to know there's an ally out there.
By the way, Brett Moffitt did make his way in. He qualified, so Zane Smith will have a buddy today.
Oh, me.
Look at these boys.
That's beautiful.
Ryder Cup next year? What do you think, Phil?
Well, yeah. I mean,
sure,
might have a good chance. Yeah, to make that team.
Let's see, Jake Drew, the time to beat there, 54-46.
The Talladega experience, you're never going to be surprised about stuff you might see down in the infield. And I believe that's why it's packed. Everybody wants to see what might happen.
You walk through the infield, there's people that know nothing about racing, never seen a race before, but they heard about the Talladega infield, and you must be there.
And you know, we saw a shot earlier of a family setting there, a bunch of dads and grandpas and kids, or you got people golfing balls into trash cans. That's sort of the array of what you might see. See Ben's hand there on the left, out the window, trying just to drag any air he can away from that spoiler. That's how close things are here.
And that's not just an accident. That was determined in the wind tunnel that would help the situation.
I'd like to have been that guy in the wind tunnel, sitting in the car, put my arm out there. What do y'all got over there? What's the computer say that does?
That's unbelievable. I mean, that's what we're talking here. Every little thing counts. Well, the fastest guy in the first round was Chase Purdy. He's standing by with Josh.
Yeah, and Chase Purdy got his first career pole earlier this season. So how you feeling about your shot of getting another one here now at your hometown track?
Yeah, no, I think we got a good shot at it. You know, obviously, our super speedway stuff is really good. We didn't get a chance to really show that after the first round in Daytona because of an issue there. But no, I feel really good about it. Hats off to everybody at Cal Busch Motorsports. I mean, this thing's a rocket. So all I got to do is go out there and hold it pretty well and hold it wide open and hope for the best. So yeah, I think we got a chance.
Thanks. Good luck.
Chase Purdy from Meridian, Mississippi. He's got that Bama buggy. It's the perfect place to rock that sponsor. Hopes he can be fast once again, get the pole. Ben Rhodes, you saw him jump to the top with a 54-13, the time to beat so far. Dean Thompson hopes to do that, and he does. 54-04.
And these trucks are going out in reverse order. 10th went out first, and then we'll get all the way down to our fastest truck, which is Chase Purdy. He'll be the last to go.
And I love that. It builds the suspense, drama, right?
Theoretically, they should be faster as they go.
Corey Heim.
Been fast all year, hasn't he?
He's been fast no matter if it comes to qualifying or racing.
So consistent.
Three-time pole sitter already this year.
We saw the fact that he's only had 2 finishes this year outside the top 10. I was looking back at his ARCA record, and he only had 2 finishes outside the top 10 in his entire career in ARCA.
I don't think I ever had any finishes outside the top 10 in ARCA. I only ran once.
I ran 4 times, and I had 1 finish outside. Blew a right for entire running second at Atlanta.
You just look at a young man like Corey Heim and the consistency, but you look at what the Truck Series does, where we race, the different styles of racetracks, to do what he's been able to do. It's incredible. It's not a talent that you see come along too often. Corey Heim, third with the 54.14. I know Nick Sanchez, he wants to get another pole, 4 so far this year, Josh.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez won the ARCA race here at Talladega last year. So what did you learn that you can transfer over to help you out today?
I think honestly, just trying to survive and be there at the end. This race is crazy. It's even crazier in the Truck Series. So all you can do is survive and be there at the end with a shot to win, and that's all you get up for.
That's a good luck, Nick.
Yeah, and that's a reminder that these guys don't run here in the spring like the Cup Series does. So once a year it is. So obviously he ran at Daytona. Atlanta is a super speedway style-ish race now.
Yeah,
it's running the pack.
It's similar, but I think you probably clump Daytona Talladega in more closely than you would Atlanta. But certainly Atlanta now is a drafting track. That will change as that track ages somewhat. But for right now, in the second year of that racetrack, it's a drafting track.
And it's as fun as it gets too to watch as a race fan. I hope it doesn't change much. Marcus Smith and all those guys at Speedway Motorsports did a great job of redesigning that place and making it fun for the race fans too to watch as a race fan. I hope it doesn't change much. Marcus Smith and all those guys at Speedway Motorsports did a great job of redesigning that place and making it fun for the race fans.
Good lap for Majeski, second quickest. 54.061, just 12 1/1000ths of a second slower than Dean Thompson.
No, we used to come here and we'd have practice. These guys can run in packs together, they can run individually. We don't do that anymore. You get in your truck and you qualify. Do you like that?
I don't. I like the practice, and I like the fact that for the teams especially now they're so smart now. You see how that truck is sealed down to the racetrack. They go off their notes or whatever, but it has to be really hard for a new team to come and go to a place with no practice like this and get the setup right. Make sure that truck's not bottoming it out on the racetrack. I think a driver I would love to have a young driver and have him have a little bit of practice drafting and whatever, because it's certainly different from anything that they've ever done before.
There's simulation, but simulation isn't the same as having your butt in the seat.
And this lap, I think these 2 laps, leaving pit road, running your lap, it gets you in the mood. It gets you in race mode. You understand how your truck feels. It gives you confidence about how it's going to be when the race starts. So I think this qualifying session is really important because of that.
And
Jake
remember,
Garcia,
top of the board. And remember, Jake was not old enough to race at Daytona, so this is his first time at a Daytona Talladega type track. He did run Atlanta earlier this year.
So far, so good.
There's a young man that's been fast on these speedways, Jack Wood. Good looking truck for KBM.
Watch this on the bottom as we see Jack on top. Oh, we showed him at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the most important parts of your lap is launching, and Carson didn't do a good job. It looked like he eased the clutch out a little bit farther than he meant to. So now watch him just as hard as he can through the gears. But that, as a driver, that makes you so sad.
It does. It really does.
Messed up like that.
If we had 2 laps, it'd be one thing, you could get away with that, but you want every ounce of speed as you come to take the green flag.
I love that. We usually on the outside only hear what it sounds like and what they're going through when they stall it. But Michael, you guys talk about the launch all the time, so you saw it firsthand. We'll see if it hurts him any here.
I hope he doesn't know we were watching.
He will eventually. Jack Wood clocks in 4th.
Well, look how close they are up there. An 01, an 04, an 06, and 08 for the top 4 right now.
I got a pretty good feeling that Purdy and Sanchez are going to mess that all up.
Yeah, I do too. They're going to be down in those 53s. mid-53s, possibly.
Carson just working his way to that yellow line as gently and as subtly as he can.
And the sound you hear, Michael, will be the same sound you hear for 2.66 miles.
Just wound out best he can.
What do you figure they lose? Maybe 200-300 RPMs in the corner, something like that?
Probably not any more than that. These are big, wide sweeping corners. It's crazy as a racer how much different it is than Daytona. We talk about lopping them together, but they drive so differently.
See that speed differential every time they come up on that truck coming down, make his way into pit lane. That was Jack Wood. Just wide open. Look at the intensity. And his visor's up. Thank you very much for leaving your visor up, Carson.
Had his hand over in the window net, trying to push air out from coming inside the truck.
So fifth quickest for Carson Hocevar, and I wonder, if that cost him anything, just messing up that launch.
Again, theoretically, he should have been the fastest because he went that much faster in the first round, but he's only about 1/10 of a second off the very quick time. And I mean, you're talking about 1/10 of a second. You're not talking about a lot of time.
In a 2.66 mile circle, you're certainly right, Phil, but his time was about 1/10 and a half off of what he did in round one. So definitely lost some speed. We'll see if everybody else loses a little as well.
Garcia actually ran faster than he did in round one.
I thought they might with all the fluids
warmed up. The
and
rear end fluid, the transmission fluid being warmed up. The hubs, everything warmed up.
Nick Sanchez, a 22-year-old out of Miami, Florida. 4-time pole sitter already this year. First time here in a truck, but obviously he's been here in the ARCA Menard Series, which is a huge benefit for him. He knew what to expect when he got behind the wheel this morning. To the top.
Good lap by Nick Sanchez, 53.653. That's about 1/10 of a second faster than he ran in that first round, and that's a 53.58 is what Chase Purdy ran in his first round.
You think that lap got Chase's attention? Knows he's got to go out and do his job launching and painting that left front on that yellow line.
Chase Purdy picked up the pole just 2 races ago at Kansas. That was a huge moment for him and his team. I think it just goes to show you what confidence does. And look, now he's in the hunt right now for his second career pole here, but he's got to get a little bit better to beat Sanchez.
You saw Nick Sanchez going down the back straightaway. He would love to have pulled over right behind him and got a little bit of a draft off that truck, but got to stay above the double yellow line. That's out of bounds here. Even in qualifying, it's out of bounds.
It's a great point.
See the broken yellow line there. That's so you can come to pit road.
Otherwise, you'd have to stay out on the racetrack the whole time.
That's right.
Does he do it?
Oh.
Chase Purdy to the top. Your pole sitter.
Does he do it? Heck yeah.
Huge lap.
Almost 179 and a half.
Kyle Busch Motorsports picks up another pole. 3 races left in the season for Kyle Busch. See how many poles, how many wins. Maybe they'll win again. Obviously next year they'll turn into Spire Motorsports, but right now it's all about Kyle Busch Motorsports and the Bama Buggies number 4, Chase Purdy, second career pole, and Nick Sanchez, another front row start for this young man.
8 front row starts. That's amazing.
All right, guys, we watched qualifying. Now pick a winner. You going to go with Chase Purdy, Sanchez, fast trucks, or how about down in, what about 20th for Stuart Friesen? That's where the average starting.
How about somebody in the top 36?
I like your attitude.
How about
Bill.
anybody? They can certainly take the win. Josh?
Down here with Jake Garcia, and another great starting position for you. How does this set you up for the race?
Yeah, this is my first Speedway race ever, so I really don't know what to expect at all, but I'm sure it'll be a handful out there, a lot different than qualifying was. I'm just excited to be here in my Quanta Services Chevy Silverado, and hopefully I can learn a lot throughout the course of the day, and even though I'm starting up front, I still think I'll probably have a lot of learning to do, and hopefully I can just get out front, stay there, and not be in the madness. But I think everyone's race is going to be a little bit crazy today.
Thanks and good luck, Jake.
Yeah, thank you.
I think that's a great observation. Everybody's race is going to be crazy today, and that's why you're going to tune in and watch the action from Talladega.
Great job for that young man. Qualified third. I can't wait. I hope you're watching at home. You stay with us, go out, cut the lawn, whatever you need to do. But race day coming up at noon Eastern, followed by the Love's RV Stop 250. We'll be back with you. Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, Jamie Little, Josh Sims, and Regan Smith will join us on pit road. We'll be on FS1. We'll see you there at noon. So long from Talladega.